Welcome to the Model Health Show. This is fitness and nutrition expert Shawn Stevenson here with my amazing, beautiful, talented co-host and producer of the Model Health Show, Jade Harrell. What's up, Jade?
What's up, Shawn?
How are you today?
I am inspiratical.
I like where this is going. What is that?
You should. I'm inspired. It's so radical.
Yes.
Radical
Always reminds me of the Ninja Turtles.
Rad.
Cowabunga.
They got another movie coming out.
They do. It's all about the summer blockbusters, right?
It is, right?
Summer blockbusters. Who doesn't love a summer blockbuster?
I do, very much.
And speaking of summer and transition into that period, we've got a great episode lined up for you guys to help you to optimize your summer body.
Uh-oh.
We're going to be talking about the, quote, most important meal of the day, which we're going to find out, is that true?
All right, is it?
On today's episode, so we're going to be talking about 7 ways to supercharge your breakfast.
There we
That's
go.
what today's episode is all about.
I want to start my day over.
I'm very,
now.
very excited. You want to start over.
That's right.
Unfortunately, there's no reset button on our life.
Oh,
But
well.
if there was,
Yeah.
that makes me think about the Nintendo.
Well, there you go.
know.
See?
Man, I was reset.
Were
Do you remember how you had to blow in the cartridge
Yeah.
to
To put it back in there?
You know,
Right.
everybody had their little, no, come here, I got it.
Right.
You know, everybody had that one person that could do it right. Anyways, for those who are unaffiliated, people born past that time period, they're like, what?
What's a Nintendo?
Blow in the cartridge? I'd never do that.
Cartridge?
Hey, it worked. Something with the saliva and
Yeah.
never mind.
Got it. Yeah.
But everybody, thank you so much for tuning into the show today. And I just got back
Welcome
from an incredible,
home.
Thank you. Feels good to be back.
Yeah.
Media tour that took me through Phoenix,
Mm-hmm.
Los Angeles, and then Las Vegas, and then back home again. And while I was there in Phoenix, I did, I think, 4 different TV shows. And
Amazing.
what an amazing time. Met some incredible people, great experiences. And, you know, we got all that great content out there. And I did a book signing there, which shout out to everybody who came out to see me. Big hug to you guys. I'm picturing every single one of you right now.
Right.
And the stories, I mean, this people were actually showing me before and after pictures and just telling me the impact that the show has had on their life. And it's just like,
That's
it's
right.
even hard to
That's
kind of even
right.
talk about.
Yeah.
But that was such a great
I saw a
experience.
few of those you posted. It was just, well, maybe you didn't post it. The person posted.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow. You know, not just how they look, but how they feel, how their
Right,
lives are different, what else they're doing now.
Yeah. That's the
powerful,
difference. That's the
right.
difference. It's not just I lost weight, but I became a healthier version of
became
myself. I
somebody.
became a healthier person.
Mm-hmm.
And what was so crazy is one of the TV shows I did that morning, people came out that saw me on television to the book signing. So it's like, oh, traditional media still works.
Yeah,
huh?
how about that?
You know, so that was so cool as well.
That's funny.
And then bounced over to Los Angeles and had a wonderful time. I went to Natalie Jill's book signing, book launch party.
Right.
And wow, just so great to see a lot of my friends and then meet new friends as well. So I hung out with my boy Lewis House,
Goodness.
quite a chunk of time,
Yeah.
and
I
Abel
love
James.
seeing y'all together.
Come to find out, him and I actually have the same birthday, which is so
Okay.
weird, right?
Yeah.
And you know,
That
he was like,
explains a lot.
yeah, he said the same thing. He said the same exact thing. And so that was a really interesting coincidence. And we're born August 23rd, guys. I do accept gifts. So I'm just going to throw that out there. But it's a cusp. So a Leo Virgo cusp. So it means you're
Interesting.
2 signs or you're one of the, I don't know. You know, I'm not into the horoscopes very much, but at the same time, I respect the game. I respect the game of the horoscopes because some people are like outlining their life, and it's kind of weird and eerie how that stuff
Yeah,
can
it is.
correspond to your life. But
Well,
you know,
you guys were like mirror images.
yeah, it was
Images
like
in a mirror.
the chocolate and vanilla, the caramel and vanilla mirror image. Yeah, no, I mean, amazing. He's got such an amazing show, an amazing mission. So, of course, he's been on the show a couple of times. So, The Fat Burning Man,
Okay.
check him out for sure if you haven't already. But so hanging out with, you know, Natalie Jill, Lewis, Abel, got to hang out with Pedram in Arizona. It was one of the people I hung out with for a while. Love that guy. And we also did in LA, I did a shoot with 24 Hour Fitness to play in all their gyms coming up this summer, guys. Shout out to Ashley Pitt and her amazing team at 24 Hour Fitness for making it such a wonderful experience.
And all you overnight fitness enthusiasts who will see Shawn now.
24 hours, baby.
24 hours.
But,
wake you up.
And then hopping over to Las Vegas, I did some media there as well. their big morning show and hung out with Craig Ballantyne, did a mastermind event with him as well. So just soaked up so much information, shared some information. Craig had me do an impromptu talk, which I was not even prepared for, but I shared
meet my
some
friend
of the,
Shawn.
but I shared some of the things that I've learned over the past couple of years and just gave value. And that's really something important that I want to share with you guys before we get into the show today is that, lead with value, lead with giving. That's how you really create rapport, and that's how you really create those lifetime relationships. It's like so many people want to get ahead, but we do that by taking and trying to see what you can get from another individual instead of finding a way to give, finding a way to add value to that person's life, and do it from a place of pure wanting to help them, not with that ulterior motive, because we can sense that. Because I promise you, when you give and you actually show that you care about another person, you just do something to lift them up, it's the law of reciprocity. It's there, but also there's this kind of weird cosmic, and here I go talking about a horoscope.
You're back in the stars,
this karmic thing where good comes back to you tenfold. So lead with giving, find a way to give, find a way to add value, and pay attention, because chances are there are lessons there as well. Because one of the reasons that we don't give or that we don't share with other people is we think that when we give it to them, we lose it.
You don't.
But that's not how it works.
Right.
When you give, now we have two people with it. And plus now you've learned how to teach it better. So you have even more of it.
I love
right?
that.
So just a little nugget there to just remember and to add into your perception of reality.
That's more than a nugget.
But I want to give a quick shout out to our very, very special show sponsor, Four Sigmatic. I hung out also in LA with the CEO of Four Sigmatic. So
hello.
Shout out to those guys. Amazing, amazing story. And I've been using the cordyceps on the road has been my best friend.
Okay.
So what I love about them is that these are instant, because, for years, taking those capsules, opening the capsules up, putting them in smoothies, things like that. But these are actually in a tea form, and they have a little bit of stevia built into it. So it tastes really nice. There's a little bit of ginseng in here as well. Just, it's so amazing. And I actually did a Snapchat video walking people through. If you're not following me on Snapchat, holler at me there.
Right.
Shawn Model, one word, so ShawnModel on Snapchat.
Sweet.
And show people how I was making my tea with the coffee maker in the hotel room.
I love it.
All right.
And then so, you don't have to drop the little capsules in your stuff.
Right. And it doesn't dissolve with that kind of stuff too, right?
Right.
Got like chunk. Like, what is that? What is that with the lunch ladies? What do they give you?
Folks
Today,
just call it mash.
Yeah, more mush. Mush for you today. What's on the menu, lunch plate. Lady? Sloppy Joes, and they're extra sloppy.
Right. Just for you.
So just having those packages and open up the cordyceps and the MCT oil. I add a little bit of that in there, emulsified MCT oil. But and here's why I really love Four Sigmatic. Number one, it's dual extracted. So this is really, really important because a lot of cordyceps products, they're using one extraction method, either hot water or alcohol. And if you're only using one method, you're not able to absorb and pull out all of the compounds, these amazing compounds, which I'm going to tell you about in just a moment, that are in these medicinal mushrooms. With the dual extraction, so we've got the hot water and the alcohol, which is going to extract the beta-glucans and the triterpenes respectively. So we're talking about the antioxidant components and the hormonal components all together in one powerhouse blend. And so with cordyceps in particular, there was a study published in the Journal of Ethnopharmacology that found that cordyceps supplementation improves exercise endurance capacity by activating the skeletal muscle metabolic regulators, all right? And there's a coordinated antioxidant response as well. And so what happens consequently because of these two things, cordyceps, clinically proven, can be used as a potent natural exercise mimetic. So what does that mean? Basically, this mimics for your lung capacity exercise, all right? So it literally makes your lungs stronger from simply taking cordyceps. Crazy, right?
I'll take it.
So what a great pre-workout. And this is what I was doing with all the random hotel gyms that I was going to. Some were good, some not so good, but I felt that good energy, but there's no crash. It's a natural enhancement of what's already happening in your system. And again, this has been used for thousands of years, documented thousands of years of documented history in Chinese medicine, right? Versus the pre-workout supplement made last week by Stanley.
That's right.
Shout out to anybody named Stanley. No disrespect. What's up, Stan?
Lee.
Right,
we
Stan
like
Lee.
You too, right? He comes up with great stuff.
That powerful statement, with great power comes great responsibility.
There you go.
Shout out to
There
Stan Lee.
Shout outs to you. I could just imagine the innocent traveler who happens to come into the gym where you're in there at the hotel.
Right.
Like, whoa.
What is he?
Right.
I'm Snapchatting.
Right. I need to
taking pictures.
Snapchat that. What's that thing you did on the bar?
Paparazzi.
Right.
I got paparazzi.
I want to do that.
Also, clinically proven to enhance your insulin sensitivity, which on the other side, the counter of that is reversing the insulin resistance that tends to lead to more belly fat, low energy, fat accumulation, stuff that we want to avoid.
Yeah.
And also, to put on top of all of those things, there's a study published, and this was a cell study published in Cancer, Chemotherapy, and Pharmacology. And this was back in 2007, so almost 10 years ago we've known about this, that an extract of cordyceps has an apoptotic effect on human oral cancer cells.
Apoptosis.
Okay, so
You
literally,
taught us that.
yes, so literally destroying, breaking apart these cancer cells, clinically proven.
That's all right.
How, causing them essentially to self-destruct. My question is, how could something, this one medicinal mushroom, be able to do so much?
Right.
That's the power of real foods, and that's the power of doing things right in an ethical way. And so that's what you're getting with Four Sigmatic. So head over to foursigmatic.com/model. They're going to give you 15% off of all of their products. And so that's foursigmatic.com/MODEL.
Yeah.
Right?
And they
One more
taste
time.
pretty good too.
foursigmatic.com/model. 15% off. You're going to get their
That's sweet.
cordyceps, my chaga, my favorite chaga as well, and also the mushroom coffees, which you're a huge fan of. When I came in today, he was like, do you have my stuff?
Right. Welcome
And
back.
my
Where's
wife
my
as well.
coffee?
So and they've got all these amazing medicinal mushrooms
Yeah.
from the lion's mane to the cordyceps to chaga to reishi. Check them out. It's really well worth it, guys. foursigmatic.com/model.
I love it.
And on that note, let's get to the iTunes review of the week.
Yes, we're back. Well, this is 5 stars. It says Beyond Awesome by Jen Hudson. I wonder. I've been listening to the show for about 4 months and have been waiting to send some love and have been wanting to send some love. And when I heard Shawn do his impression of Adam Sandler in episode 150, oh my goodness. My love for the show went over the top. Shawn is going to need to sneak some more of that impression into future shows. I can barely contain my laughter at work. Not only educating, but entertaining. I got my TMHS in my ears and in my car almost daily. I've never heard anyone with the expansive knowledge that Shawn has. His wisdom is multifaceted and so incredibly varied. He teaches me not just one thing, but multiple things daily. I have been tiptoeing my habits toward a healthier lifestyle, living whole and well, but I've never been able to completely connect. It just seems too far out of the reach. Shawn's show makes me feel that living a healthy lifestyle is not only within reach, but attainable and sustainable. I've suffered for years from the effects of my typical American diet and not thinking about how choices create consequences. I have extreme hormonal imbalances and a list of other typical American disorders. The Model Health Show has given me new hope for change. I'm a huge fan and won't miss an episode. P.S. The host Jade is really a diamond. She adds the perfect sparkle to accent the show.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so
Jen,
much.
love that.
You are a diamond.
Thank
Oh,
you.
my
Jen
goodness.
is too.
Yeah, Jen, thank you
I
so
love
much.
how she just put it all in perspective.
Yeah.
Yes. Because you know what, Jen, staying connected is how you get the idea and understand that there is change and hope.
Yes, absolutely. So thank you so much for leaving that
Nice.
review. That really hit me in my heart. And also, everybody, thank you for leaving these reviews on iTunes. We are really seeing a tidal wave of impact. And so the past month already, we've been at #1 in the country in fitness and nutrition
Unbelievable.
almost every day. All right. And in the top 10 in health overall. And so, and this is with all the power players in the self-help category, alternative medicine. We're right there and making some huge waves. And it's really in part to you guys, it really means a lot to me. And I'm just getting a little bit, it's so powerful because this started off as an idea and setting out with the intention to serve at a high level and make people have that feeling when they walk away from this show that they are empowered.
Yes.
And that you actually have things that you can walk away with and tangibly go and put into action.
Yeah.
Very action oriented around here.
Yeah.
So
That's
you're
how
going
we
to get some
down.
action oriented points today as well. So let's go ahead and dive into our topic. So today we're talking about 7 ways to supercharge your breakfast.
Hey.
All right. Now, why is this important? Well, you hear the stories that breakfast is the most important meal of the day.
Right.
So, well, why? Why do people say that? Well, one of the reasons that this could be the case is that you're opening your fast with breakfast. This is generally the longest time that we go without eating as somebody in our normal structure of society. So you're going from the time after dinner until you go to sleep and all the time that you're sleeping up until the time that you eat this first meal. So your body has done a lot of processing, assimilation, detoxification. So in many ways, it's sort of cleaner. There's a cleaner environment that this first meal is going to come into. So you want to make sure that that's on point. Also, you're setting the tone for your metabolism for the day. All right? You're setting the tone for your metabolism for the day with those first foods that you choose. So choose wisely.
That's right.
All right. So whether or not or when you're breaking your fast, that food that you eat is going to set the tone for your metabolism. It has no choice. But one of the things that used to be spread around in the fitness arena, which has this is straight up bro science, no logical sense behind it. But some bro science is solid. But which is if you don't eat breakfast, your metabolism is not on. If your metabolism is not on, you are officially dead. All right. You're literally not walking around.
Nighty
all right.
night.
So just by you being alive, your metabolism is functioning. But when you do eat food, it changes how your metabolism is working. All right. So, but don't get caught up in that your metabolism not on if you happen to not eat breakfast. And we're going to talk about that as we go on as well. So it depends on your metabolism and your goals as to what you're going to eat and how to supercharge your breakfast.
Okay.
So what you eat in the morning will determine also how hungry you are the rest of the day. Okay. What you eat in the morning will determine how hungry you are the rest of the day.
Deep.
So one of the foundational principles that we talk about here on the Model Health Show is that nutrient deficiency leads to chronic overeating. Okay. Nutrient deficiency leads to chronic overeating. So a lot of times when we have this ravenous appetite and we just can't seem to solve our issues with overeating or being constantly hungry, it's because we're deficient in nutrients. 90% of the time, this is the direct fix. There are some other issues there, but if you can get this one dialed in, chances are you could turn that around very quickly. So making sure that breakfast is nutrient rich is going to be an important theme as we go through all of our tips today. And what we want to do is we want to focus on nutrient density to increase our chances of winning. All right.
Love that.
Winning.
I'm a winner.
All right. So let's get into our tips. So we're talking about the 7 ways to supercharge your breakfast. And number 1 tip here is that we're going to beat fat with fats. Okay, we're going to beat fat with fats. So fats, we're talking about dietary fats. These are essential part of creating the structure literally for your brain and your nervous system. All right. So your brain is obviously the kind of governing force over what's happening with your body in many different aspects. In your gut too, which we'll talk about in Sleep Smarter. But your brain is kind of this governing force, and your nervous system interconnects with your endocrine system, which is your hormone system, via the hypothalamus in your brain. And your dietary fat intake impacts your hypothalamus. So the way that your nervous system, which is how you're sensing your environment, your internal and external environment, and your hormone production are going to be intimately communicating with each other by the function of what fats you're eating. It is that important.
Yes, it is.
So we've got essential fatty acids. So we're going to start there. And in particular, the omega-3s. So the omega-3 fatty acids, these are clinically proven to help everything from building your cell membranes to reducing inflammation in your body. Okay? So literally your cells have no structure without omega-3 fats.
Right.
All right? This is so important. Well, fats in particular, but omega-3s help to ensure that your cells are more insulin sensitive. So they're clinically proven to help prevent heart disease, improve your vision, and even combat depression. And there was a study published in Oxidative Medicine and Cellular Longevity that found that individuals who regularly consume omega-3s have far less symptoms of depression.
How about that?
All right. And again, we could do a whole show just talking about this one important category of nutrition, these omega-3s, but just understand, very, very important for that overall function of your brain, your nervous system, your endocrine system.
Can I put in the request for all of us that we do that? An omega-3 show?
It shall be done.
Thank you,
The Omega
Shawn.
Show. Right.
Omega-3.
So omega-3s have also been found to activate genes. So now we're talking about epigenetics and nutrigenomics, how nutrition impacts your genetics. Omega-3s have been found to activate genes that turn on lipolysis. All right, so this is the breakdown of fats. Literally, you can activate genes that break down fat and
like those.
Deactivate genes that are involved in fat storage.
Be good to those genes.
Yes.
That's right. And have somebody come in, treat them right, show them a good time, make sure that they're happy.
So we want to make sure that we're nourishing ourselves, and breakfast is a great time to ensure that we're getting in some of these omega-3 fatty acids. Also, essential vitamins A, D, E, K. These are not water soluble. These are required to have fats. These are fat soluble vitamins that require fats in order for them to be transported and absorbed by your body.
What
you
were
have
they
to
again?
have fats. A, D, E, and K.
Who do we appreciate? I do. A, D, E, and K. Got
A,
it.
D, E, and K. All right. And also, dietary fats have been found to reduce insulin resistance and also reduce inflammation in the body, specifically omega-3s again. And also, we've got the whole array, the omega-6s, omega-9s, but omega-3s are less available in our common diet today. This is why it's something we want to put a little bit more focus on, but we need all of them. Saturated fats as well, but from natural sources, not chemically twisted and
hydrogenated.
Yeah, not that kind of stuff.
Right.
All right. So we're not talking about saturated fats that result from trying to make the perfect Dorito. All right. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the natural saturated fats found in things like avocados and coconuts.
And that's a whole different committee. You know, the ones that were trying to be good to those genes are like, don't let these guys in.
Yeah.
We can't have any of that.
Exactly. But what's so crazy and how this even works is that there's this mimicry that happens with these artificially created saturated fats that they fit into receptor sites and do jobs fitting into places in your body where the natural saturated fats would go. So this is what starts to activate genetic expression for problems, all right? Because these are rogue. Well, I'm thinking about Mission Impossible. Dun, dun, dun. Did you see the last one, Rogue?
I didn't get
Rogue
to see
Nation?
that one.
Yeah.
I was going to rent
Tom
it.
Cruise, man.
I shall watch
He's
that this
eternally
weekend.
young.
Yeah.
You
and
know?
That's something. His receptors are getting the right place. Yeah.
He's doing his thing. He's doing his thing.
What's
Shout out to Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Cocktails.
Right. Don't give
Top
us a
Gun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Through the danger zone.
Oh, did
All right.
you?
So, sources. Now let's get into some sources to make sure that we're
Now
beating
I can't
fat.
Get it out my head.
Beating fat with fats.
Okay.
All right, beating fats with fats.
Yeah,
So
you
what are some
want some?
sources? Number one, this is something, I'll talk about this in just a moment, but avocados, coconut, so coconut products, coconut oil, fatty meats, eggs, some kind of traditional things that you see in the morning. There are a lot more fatty fruits as well. And
there are no fatty fruits.
Avocado, thank you, and good night.
It is a fruit, isn't it?
Yeah.
Ah, good
Congratulations.
Morning. Good morning.
You played yourself. I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh.
I'm sorry.
Did you go hard like that?
I had to.
Oh my gosh.
It's something people say.
It's
Okay,
some
it's something
people,
people
the
say.
hoods.
So, all right.
The
so
gangsters
avocados.
go there.
There's something called durian. I don't know if we talked about that on the show before.
I haven't met durian.
So, durian is a fruit, but it's fatty. There's a lot of really high quality fats in durian as well. But anyways, let's get back on track
I'm just
for things that are more
amazed
common.
that there are fatty fruits.
So these are all going to be great sources. And on my travels is a good time. And this is what really made me think about the need for doing a show like this is how do I navigate this when I'm on the road in all these different cities and on the road for 2 weeks and maintaining my own health and well-being. So on my travels, first thing that I do when I get off the plane, I hit up a natural food store, like Whole Foods, load up on my water, get my high quality spring water in glass.
Yep.
And you'll see me getting a gang of avocados. All right. Because no matter what I'm eating for breakfast, I can add that to the mix to make sure I'm getting these essential fats in there. All right. So, and I took a shot of my cart on Snapchat, which was avocados and a bunch of water, because these are my essentials. Because
you want
now
some groceries to go along with your avocados.
So now whether I'm getting breakfast at which I had the opportunity to stay at some really amazing hotels that source locally and all that good stuff, which was wonderful. So this is a traditional, omelet, the veggie omelet or meat lovers omelet, whatever the case might be. Slice up some avocados, instantly upgrade your nutrition. Make sure that you're starting your day in a power position and supercharging your breakfast simply by adding in that fresh avocado.
Sweet.
All right, so that's just one of these pieces.
I like it.
Right there. All right, so armed with avocado.
Mm.
All right, so make sure that you're using fats to beat fat. All right, make it a concentrated effort to add these in on a consistent basis. And then with omega-3s, you can do some fish oil supplementation, krill oil, which we've talked about on the show. But then, of course, there's the outside of the supplement arena, things like a lot of people actually eat salmon for breakfast. And so having salmon is a great source of omega-3s as well.
Oh,
right?
yes.
And then we've got the nuts and seeds out there, the chia seeds, the flax seeds. You're going to find some omega-3s there as well. And there are oils as well, which these should be cold processed because those oils are pretty volatile when they're taken out of the seeds. All right, just another little tip to keep in mind.
You just described a delightful breakfast right there. I could see enjoying this tremendously.
Awesome. Well, let's move on to number 2 on our list of 7 ways to supercharge your breakfast. Number 2 is to nourish your microbiome. Okay, nourish your microbiome. Most of our genomic and metabolic adaptions are rooted in our gut. All right, most of our genetic and metabolic adaptions are rooted in our gut. In many ways, this is the first frontier and final frontier for determining what our genes are doing, what our metabolism is doing. It's all rooted in what's happening in our belly. All right, so
get in my belly.
It's so
Austin Powers.
I know I was gonna do it, but you beat me to
I'm
it.
sorry.
No, it's
do
all
it
right.
because you'll do it good.
Get in my belly.
That's it. That's it.
I want my baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back. Ribs.
Yes. I'm
All
so
right.
keeping
So, microbiome. So your microbiome is defined as the collection of microbes or microorganisms that inhabit an environment, specifically in your gut, in your belly, that create a sort of mini ecosystem. And so according to research, our human microbiome is made up of communities of symbiotic, commensal, and pathogenic bacteria, along with fungi and viruses, and all of which call our bodies home. And I really like to think of our microbiome as being akin to like a tropical rainforest.
Okay.
And so you really want to support this environment because it gives so much life to the entire planet. So if you're in there cutting down trees, or you have too many pathogenic organisms in the environment, whether it's somebody who's just unruly coming into the rainforest, the DMX or something, it's dog, what are you doing? We here in the rainforest. You can't ignore us. We in the rainforest.
I love it. That's
and they're
a good
just
one.
causing destruction. You want to make sure that your microbiome is well balanced and you've got a lot of the friendly flora helping to control and run your system. So with that said, we have upwards of 50 to 100 trillion cells that make us up as a human entity. But we have 10 times more bacteria than we have human cells. And we've said this before on the show, but really let that sink in. 10 times more bacteria than you have human cells. So in many ways, you're more bacteria cells than you are you cells,
Man,
which is kind of
I'm
weird.
one big walking bacteria.
Yes, you are.
Batch of bacteria.
Jadeteria.
Jadeteria.
That sounds like someplace to eat. So,
You know what?
you know,
Let's do that.
they got some good food
Yeah,
there.
they do.
Have you had the cheesecake?
Yeah, full of
Amazing.
bacteria.
All right. So
Oh,
caring
gosh.
for this microbiome, again, is akin to, for me, caring for tropical rainforests. You want to have situations and constructs set up to help to support this area because it's really foundational in building good health. So in Sleep Smart, I actually share information on how even in a healthy individual, jumping time zones, multiple time zones, and radically changing your sleep schedule can actually lead to a change in your gut microbiome that resembles, and this is for healthy, lean individuals, can instantly change your microbiome to resemble someone who is obese and insulin resistant instantly.
Gee.
So there is a different environment in that microbiome based on your level of health.
Well, that goes back to the supports for your rainforest.
Yeah.
Because it's something like that, changing your time zone, changing your location on the planet and all that radicalness can really disrupt that delicate. Because rainforests are delicate. I mean, you may not get it, but there's so many intricate connections that go on there, and every bit of it is important to its ecosystem. So I could see how we're just tearing stuff up, or at least if we're not careful in
Absolutely.
that transport, that we
Absolutely.
can disrupt things.
I totally agree. You
Mhm.
said that perfectly. So, with that said, what do we do for breakfast time
Right.
to help to support our microbiome with this specific tip of nourish your
My
microbiome for
collection of
breakfast?
microbes.
So, what are the sources that are going to have these healthy, supportive flora to support your microbiome? What are some of the sources? So, sauerkraut, kimchi, the kefirs, yogurt, kombucha, miso, pickles. You could pickle pretty much anything.
Yeah, you can.
But so these are some of the more popular and well-known options for those foods that provide these friendly flora. All right. Or, of course, you could take a traditional kind of probiotic along with your breakfast. But I like to go food first, food first as much as we possibly can. And for some people, they need, because their microbiome has been so destroyed, they need that kind of support, that extra support. And so another thing that I went and got on my adventures, on my travels, is I grabbed some store-bought sauerkraut, right? And it was wonderful. So the one that I got was like ginger and wakame. So it had some sea veggies in there as well. I think it was ginger and wakame. I know it was wakame was in there. But it was wonderful. I had it with my meals. We were all having breakfast together at this mastermind, and I'm the guy who brought
the jar of sauerkraut.
Like, want some? Want some?
Right. Did they?
One person did.
Right, okay. The other side, no, I'm good.
But other people like, I wish I would have known. I would have brought mine or whatever. Just right. go to Whole Foods, grab you some, and bring it along with you to upgrade your breakfast.
Exactly.
Right? Upgrade your breakfast.
Oh my goodness.
So there's another tip for you guys, is to nourish your microbiome. So number 3 on our list of 7 ways to supercharge your breakfast, number 3 is to power up with vitamins and minerals. Power up with vitamins and minerals. So there was a study published in 2011 in the journal Nutrition Research and Practice that found that people who rarely eat breakfast consume fewer nutrients, all right, like calcium, potassium, fiber. Fewer nutrients than regular breakfast eaters in this particular study. So overall, we really want to guard against that. All right. It's not necessarily about having a quote unquote breakfast at breakfast time traditionally, but it's making sure that we're getting those nutrients in no matter what time we're eating. But breakfast, again, the first thing that you eat is going to determine and set your metabolism for the day. So we want to make sure that we're eating nutrient-rich food. So vitamins and minerals regulate too many functions for us to even name in the body. And this is from regulating your heartbeat to aiding in your memory consolidation to managing your metabolism, on and on and on. There's so many different things that they're important for. We've talked about it various times on the show, different things. But again, this might be something to just dive into and do a deep dive on. What are these vitamins and minerals in a future show? But bottom line is they regulate so much. Enzymes, which are biochemical catalysts that essentially enable all functions in your body that happen. Minerals need to be present for those to do their job, right? So it's really, really important to understand this. So sources of minerals, we want to make sure that we're getting plenty of vitamins and minerals. So sources of these things, easy add-ins for breakfast are making sure we're getting in some leafy greens when we have our breakfast. So this could be some sauteed spinach, some sauteed kale. The fermented veggies we already talked about, really rich in vitamins and minerals. I like to upgrade things, add some sea veggies to breakfast as well. So I might sprinkle some dulse flakes. So Dulse. It's a sea veggie, quite possibly the richest source of potassium of any food that's ever been researched. Sprinkle that on top of my greens or whatever it is that I'm eating. There's kelp as well. Wakame I mentioned earlier. Aramay, sea palm. I can go on and on. There's so many different ones. Nori. But upgrading your nutrition by adding in some sea veggies as well, you can get those extra kick because kelp has like 80 minerals, all right?
Wow.
Bananas that you're going to get through sprinkling some kelp onto your food. And it just kind of tastes a little bit salty. All right, so on my travels, this was kind of a tough spot. Like, how do I upgrade my vitamins and minerals if, I don't have access to that? I mean, of course, you can get the green leafy vegetables, which is cool. But, I didn't bring along my sea veggies, but I did bring along my Organifi.
Okay.
All right, so Organifi is really the way that I make sure to upgrade my nutrition when I'm on the road. I'm bringing that with me. And so that's it's Organifi green juice. And this is slow-dried, cold-processed green superfood blend that every single person needs to have a green superfood blend or green superfood supplement in their life. This is essential because, again, even if you're eating high quality food, organic food, it loses a lot of that nutrition just sitting on the store shelf for even a day.
Right.
Right. And a lot of times we're not eating it for 2, 3, 4, 5 days
By the time we get
later.
to it. Yep.
And so that nutrient density has gone down substantially. And it's just the way it is. This is what another call to action to, if we can do some urban farming or growing your own organic garden, that's a great way to do this. But not all of us have the time or the means to do that. So this is why something like Organifi is so important. It's rich in the wheatgrass, so it's wheatgrass powder, which is
we're so glad for that.
Yeah, it's not easy to guzzle on its own. So you're going to get that. And by the way, it tastes really, really good.
That.
Oh,
That's
my
just
goodness. So many times I just throw that in my water and go to the meeting or whatever it is because it's so quick and easy and it also tastes good. But so the wheatgrass, which is going to have a huge array of vitamins and minerals in there. Chlorella, which we talked about multiple times on the show, about 50% protein by weight. Very effective at helping your body to remove heavy metals from your system. Excellent about that. Moringa, which is incredibly dense in all these different vitamins and minerals, potassium, calcium, things like that. Spirulina, which is the protein king, also rich in beta carotene and phycocyanin, and on and on and on. Then it has the things like the matcha tea, the ashwagandha, turmeric for the anti-inflammatory properties. Really awesome. Everybody should be on this, or it's Organifi.com. So that's ORGANIFI.com, and use the checkout code Model Health. Okay, use the checkout code Model Health. They're going to give you 20% off your first purchase.
Hey, now.
And they're going to send you a free copy of my best-selling book, Sleep Smarter.
Ka-ching.
All right. That's
just money right there. First of all, once you get the book and you get in the book, then everything else starts to change.
Yeah.
Then you've got the Organifi going on. That's just free money.
So
right
that's
there.
That's ORGANIFI.com and use the checkout code Model Health for 20% off your first purchase and a free copy of Sleep Smarter. They're going to send to you compliments of them who really stepped up to say, hey, we know that you're supporting us and that you're using our product, which I am and I love, and I also put it into my kids' smoothies. They want to do something to support us and our mission and our audience. So definitely take advantage of that great deal.
And that's what those codes mean, that they want to support our audience too.
And again, so while I was on my travels, I made sure to get a little extra insurance with my Organifi, and it definitely did my body good. And I made it back safe and sound to you guys, unscathed, feeling tremendously healthy. And just got to thank the guys at Organifi, the guys and gals, for making such an incredible product, and just really appreciate them.
We appreciate
So that is number 3, is to power up with vitamins and minerals. Number 4 on our 7 ways to supercharge your breakfast. Number 4 is to make sure you're getting in that fiber. That fiber, guys. Special cloth alert. Using those. We're not talking about fibers to make shirts. We're talking about that dietary fiber, which is essentially indigestible carbohydrate fraction of our foods. All right. So according to a 1999 study, and this was published in the International Journal of Food Sciences and Nutrition, the researchers found that when people ate a high fiber, lower carbohydrate breakfast, they had more energy throughout the day.
Sweet.
Right? So oftentimes, again, that miseducation that happens, carbohydrates are energy. We need that to have energy, but actually it said lower carbohydrate, higher fiber leads to more sustained energy throughout the day. And this is 1999.
How about that?
And we're just now talking about this in the field of nutrition. Again,
that'll change the way we do things.
Yeah. What's so great, again, is that we have platforms like this where people, we don't have to wait until the books change. We don't have to go dig around to try to find this research because it's there.
Yeah.
And so we have this really ripe opportunity to change our society. And again, thank you guys so much for being a part of this with us, because I'm very passionate about this, and I know you are too.
Yeah.
If you're a part of the Model Health community, if you're a model, because it's really about not just learning about these things, but putting these things into play in your own life, in the lives of your family,
for sure,
to really show what's possible. Because actions speak louder
than
the words.
And you're getting a rep. So here you go, changing sleep. You started out changing podcasts. Then you go change your sleep. Now you done change breakfast. Tony the Tiger is going to be on your
They're
head.
great. Maybe not. All right, so fiber.
Oh, shucks.
We all have heard this word before many, many times. And this is one of the things that, coincidentally, this was preached to me in college, was about fiber. But that was coupled with eating 9 to 11 servings of healthy whole grains as well. So getting your fiber from this high fructose laden bread.
Yep.
Okay. But it's whole wheat.
Yeah.
That's what I said.
Grain. That's what I said.
All right. So what are the ideal sources, though, to get our fiber? So this is going to be, first of all, veggies. All right. Eat your veggies. I remember hearing that from Peter Ragnar, because people are so concerned about all these different supplements that they're supposed to take.
Right.
And when it really should be simple, you take 1 to 2 important things, maybe an omega-3 supplement, maybe you're taking something to get all your greens in, but just keeping it as simple as possible, but focus on real foods first. And that's what I'm really recommended to you guys, is whole foods first, and then use those things as a supplement to just make sure we have that little extra insurance. So this is why we want to focus on eating real whole vegetables first, because we're going to get the carbohydrate fraction that's indigestible / the fiber. You're going to get the fiber built into it, plus vitamins and minerals built into it, plus high quality sources of protein. It's an overall great food. There isn't really a diet out there that's saying, you know what?
Don't do
You really
them.
shouldn't eat those greens.
Right.
That's just, greens are bad.
Put those on the back burner.
It's something we can pretty much all agree on. And there are some medical conditions, however, that tell people, and medications that people take, that they have to avoid green vegetables, which is pretty crazy to hear something like that, but this is true. But overall, for the vast majority of us, this is something we need to really put our focus on. So veggies, flax seeds, again, the ground flax seeds, chia seeds, avocados are great sources of fiber, funny enough. So it's a fatty fruit and fiber-rich fruit, and also fruits as well. But
and it's a fruit.
Right. Yeah.
Eureka.
So the other fruits that are more traditionally known as fruits,
Right.
which we want to focus on the lower glycemic fruits. So berries are a really great source of fiber that we can target. Okay. So that's number 4 on our 7 ways to supercharge our breakfast. Let's move on to number 5. Number 5 is to make sure that we're getting adequate protein. All right. So protein, it's known as the king for a reason. All right. Protein is the king. And we're a protein machine. Our structure, our cells, proteins are a huge component of everything about us. Research shows that consuming 20 grams of protein for breakfast is associated with appetite control and with fat loss. Okay, so targeting 20 grams of protein for breakfast is something that we definitely want to keep an eye out for. If we're partaking in the breakfast, 20 grams is what we want to target. So what are some great sources of protein? So this is a category that everybody should know a lot about already. But great sources is going to be traditional protein foods. So, but of course, we want to focus on quality. So if you're going to eat meat, you want to make sure that it's grass-fed, pastured, cage-free eggs, all that kind of stuff. So these are all viable sources of protein. Also, the plant protein. So if we can sneak in some nuts and seeds, we can sneak in some of the super greens like the spirulinas and the chlorellas. There's a lot of opportunity here to make sure that we're getting in proteins. All right. But the traditional thing for a lot of people is the eggs and bacon. It's one of Abel's big things. I think he's got a whole bacon recipe book. And also our buddy George Bryant.
Right.
His hashtag Hugs and Bacon.
Hugs and bacon.
That's his thing.
And who
Shout
was
out to
our
my
friend
man,
who wore
George
the
Bryant.
bacon suit on his show?
That was Abel.
That was Abel.
Yep. In his hit TV show,
Yep.
My Diet is Better Than Yours.
Yep.
He threw on the bacon outfit. And
That's
running with his
motivation.
client. Yeah.
That's motivation. I'll chase some bacon.
So you could do the veggie omelet or, just the traditional thing, but make sure that we're focusing on getting in those green leafy vegetables.
Okay.
I can't stress that enough. No matter what diet you subscribe to, whether it's vegetarian diet, a paleo diet, low carb, whatever it is, make sure that we're getting those greens along with it and our healthy fats. So everything we've talked about thus far, we don't just want to focus on protein because that can get you in a little bit of trouble. Protein is critical, but we want to make sure we get plenty of the other stuff to help to balance it out. All right, so that's number 5. Number 6 on our 7 ways to supercharge your breakfast. Number 6 is to carb as needed. Carb as needed.
That's original. I like that.
Carbohydrates are not the enemy, all right? It's just keep your enemies close and your what?
And your carbs closer.
And your carbs closer. So it's really in how we use these, because there's a deep-rooted desire for humans to seek out carbohydrates. You know, like we would always go for, because people want to, if we talk about evolutionary biology, if you got a chance, 20,000 years ago to get your hands on some honey, you're going to go ham on that honey, all right? It's just, it is what it is.
20,000 years ago would do that.
But you're going to also do the foraging. You're going to have your, your hunting and gathering. But any dense source of carbohydrate, humans are going to go for. And it's built into us. But we want to stay on guard, because our draw and drive towards carbohydrates tends to be due to a nutrient deficiency. All right, so we want to make sure we're covering our other bases with our fats and our proteins, so we don't go ham on the carbohydrates.
Honey. Yeah. Bears do it too, so it happens to us all.
And you want to carb per your goals. So if you are a high-level athlete, chances are having a higher ratio of carbohydrates in your diet is going to be more helpful to you than somebody else who's just, kind of going to the office. They just want to, look good in their clothes. They're not trying to perform some radical feat of athletic performance. They just want to look and feel good in their clothes, have some energy throughout the day, energy to play with their kids, and, do their job. That's going to be different. You got to understand that for yourself. So carb as needed. And also something else I want people to understand is that, and I've done this, I did a low carb experiment for, I think I did about 6 months with I'm talking under 50 grams a day, and I'd have up to 50 on the days I would work out. So again, you can't speak from this stuff unless you've put it into practice yourself from an ethical place.
Exactly.
And what can happen is that we have to understand that carbs support a healthy hormone function. You can get your body to switch over and to be more of a fat burner and work really well with ketones. But for some people, this can happen, which is T3 is the most active form of thyroid hormone, and it's incredibly important for your glucose management as well and your proper metabolic function overall. So there was a landmark study, and this was known as the Vermont study, and they found that T3 is very sensitive to calorie and carbohydrate intake. So when either calories or carbohydrates get too low, your T3 levels can drop.
Start acting,
and so this is what some people have seen when they go to an extremely low carb diet. So, and again, it depends on the person. Some people can work incredibly well on that. So I'm not taking that away in any form or fashion. I think it's amazing. And personally, my experience is in working clinically and seeing thousands of people that being on the lower side of carbohydrates is a good idea for a lot of us. But we don't want to take that all off the table, right? Because also, real talk, carbs make us feel kind of good.
Yeah, they do.
We get that little bit of a serotonin hit as well. So just even having that little whack of carbohydrates in the morning with breakfast, maybe it's 25 grams, with a little bit of wild rice or some sweet potato, whatever it is, can just take the edge off.
What would make sense for the day for people that are watching that closely?
It really depends on the person, your level of activity, how you want to feel, your goals.
Gotcha.
This isn't something we can give a cookie cutter answer, but you just don't want to go over with the carbs, which is easy to do because they taste good, especially mixing a little bit of fat with it, a little bit of salt, and it's easy to go overboard. And that can create something called carbohydrate spillover, which we've talked about on the show, which is immediate lipogenesis, which is the creation of fat. And also this can lead to the creation of VLDL, so very low dense lipoproteins, which are more related to potential strokes and heart attacks. So we have to be careful with carbohydrates, which that doesn't mean like be scared, but care. Be full of care when
your carbs.
Yeah. So we want to err on the side of, just see how low you can go without causing a problem. How low
Do
can
some
you
carbo limbo.
How low
Carbo
can you go?
limbo.
How low can you go?
Limbo.
But also
you named
give yourself,
that right. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, no.
You named that right when you said number 6 was carb as needed. You know, and that's going to be based on each one of us.
Yes, exactly, exactly. So we want to support our overall metabolism, make sure that we're happy, making sure that we're getting in a mixture, and we can get some great sources of those other nutrients in carbohydrates. Like I mentioned, the sweet potato. We just had the Japanese sweet potato last night, which is fantastic.
Okay.
You know, which you're going to get some great fiber there as well. Vitamin A, you're going to get some B vitamins as well. There's so many great things that are found in a lot of these carbohydrate foods. Fruits, you know, these are more of a carbohydrate-based foods as well, you know, especially things like the blueberries, strawberries, things that we want to target. All right, so carb as needed.
Love
So
it.
number 7, we're to our final tip here for 7
Got here
ways to
soon.
supercharge your breakfast. Number 7 is change the timing of your breakfast. Okay, change the timing of your breakfast. Now, whether or not you eat breakfast really doesn't matter if you're eating conventional foods and not paying attention to what you're actually learning about today. Okay, and so the research shows this. There isn't really a difference whether or not you skip breakfast. So there was one study conducted at the University of Alabama in Birmingham on overweight individuals, and another study conducted by the University of Bath in the UK on leaner test subjects. Both of them found that whether or not someone ate breakfast wasn't a strong determinant at all in them losing weight.
Wow. That's a myth buster.
With the whole breakfast is the most important meal of the day, maybe not. You know, it's just right there kind of in black and white that. But again, we're not monitoring what these individuals are eating, okay? Because the other study that I mentioned earlier showed that people who don't eat breakfast tend to not get in as much nutrition. They also tend to eat more. You know, I've came across so many different studies in preparation for today, but one showed that they tend to eat at least 100 calories more a day for people who don't eat breakfast because we have a tendency to overeat, right? So now, there are tons of well-researched benefits of intermittent fasting. We did an entire show on this subject matter, which we will put in the show notes. That was episode 124. If you just want to go and look that one up, or go to themodelhealthshow.com and you can check the show notes out for this episode. One of our most popular, most downloaded episodes right there. So there's tons of great benefits ranging from, and I've experienced this and I loved, oh my goodness, that mental clarity, the increased focus, productivity, all those things, like clinically proven to increase your ability to process information. And so within that, I really, and again, I did this experimentation for about a year of intermittent fasting, and what a great experience of the mental acuity, the enhanced memory, the focus. So the mental aspects, which are, again, clinically proven, and then with the body fat, that kind of stuff as well. But you can get those same results with body fat changes through other forms of eating as well. There are plenty of people who eat a breakfast earlier who are lean, you know, so it's just one way to the prize. All right. But I want to make sure that people have this tool available in a way that actually works and have all the pieces, understand the science behind it. So that's why we do what we do. So check out episode 124 of the show to get more details on intermittent fasting, which we dedicated the entire episode to. And so what we want to do is we can stretch out the time, simply changing the time that you have your breakfast. You might get a little bit more benefit in your fat metabolism, in your energy and focus. Instead of eating breakfast at 7 a.m., maybe you push it back a couple of hours. You roll over and grab a protein shake. I know people have done that. So maybe you're pushing it back and eating breakfast at 10 o'clock or 9 o'clock. You know, just changing the time that you're eating your first meal might be something that changes the game for you. You know, so keep that as an option. We don't have to go according to the cookie cutter. Do this at this time, do that at that time. When you have to find out for yourself what works best. You know, maybe you feel great just having your morning coffee and then eating an early lunch, you know, at 11 o'clock or whatever the case may be. You know, you've got to do what works best for yourself. And with that said, you know, making sure that when you do have that first nutrition, that it's great nutrition.
That's right.
That's what it's really about.
So breaking your fast is the most important time. And if you do that right, but not necessarily breakfast.
Exactly.
Great.
Exactly. So everybody, thank you so much for tuning into the show. I hope that you got a lot of value out of this episode. And make sure to check out episode 124 for our show dedicated to the benefits of intermittent fasting. And make sure to share this with a friend. Let somebody know that you care about the Model Health Show and how they can upgrade their breakfast. And just that one little thing can change the game for somebody, because in truth, that first meal of the day sets the tone for your metabolism and how your body's going to run. So we want to make sure that we're doing really, really good things for our body. And we went through some really powerful points today, which I'm going to do a quick recap. So number one, beat fats with fat. Number 2, nourish your microbiome. Number 3, power up with vitamins and minerals. Number 4, make sure that you're rocking that cloth alert, special cloth alert. Sorry. Number 4, you want to make sure that you're doing that special cloth alert and eating plenty of fiber. Number 5, protein is king. Make sure you're getting in 20 grams of protein when you have that first meal. Number 6, carb as needed. And number 7, simply test changing the timing of your breakfast. And you might be able to see some changes in your metabolism, your energy, just by making that little tweak.
Love it.
All right. I appreciate you so much for tuning in. We've got many, many more great things in store for you guys. Some amazing guests, amazing show topics. So stay tuned. Appreciate you guys so much. Have an amazing day, and I'll talk with you soon.